What's up, my family? It's Dimitri Hill. And the reason why I had you guys here is because last year to this day, I released my short film, A Man That Once Walked This Earth. It's a story pretty much talking about basically my father and the evidence that he left during his lifetime. And today is actually the 10th anniversary of his passing. So I felt like it was necessary for me to kind of, give y'all a little breakdown about how the film came about, the inspiration behind it, and kind of like some of the hidden things behind the scenes that you guys may not know. So I'm gonna break all that down for you guys. So let's go.
Let's have a Q&A. I just wanna talk to him. Let's have a Q&A. I just wanna talk to him. Let's have a Q&A. I just wanna talk to him. Let's have a Q&A. I just wanna talk to him. Let's have a Q&A. I just wanna talk to him. Let's have a Q&A. I just wanna talk to him.
And I had a couple questions that people sent to your boy, so let's check it out. What kind of started the idea of actually producing this was when my sister let me and the family know that she was gonna try to take a trip to Alabama to see my grandma, to finally meet my brother's daughters. And I think that was just an opportunity to kind of like jump at, because that was the one time that we all probably would be in Alabama at once. So I would have felt trash if I would have missed that opportunity. So I knew by us all being together, then it was an opportunity that we was gonna see my pop's grave.
And we're living proof of that.
And so once I knew I was gonna do some type of project, but the inspiration kept growing as time went. And I started listening to music, and that's gonna get me going immediately. And then I started, picturing what I wanted to do and kind of like living with the idea and kind of like just watering that seed and watching it grow. And then by the time we got there, I kind of knew how I was gonna pull this off. And I think the rooftop scene, that was also something that I just added on. Like, that wasn't even in the original idea. But even breaking down that scene, I'm always listening to music. That's always kind of like my first source of inspiration creatively, is I have to listen to music. Music is the vehicle to kind of help me navigate through my mind. And so sometimes when people say, "Meet, you always got headphones on," that's because I'm really just trying to like stay in that world and just trying to see what I can find and see what I come up with. And a lot of the projects you see has always been music, has always been the one that kind of like helped bring that vision out so I can see it clear. I can't see it clear when I'm distracted by the outside noise that's going on around me. So sometimes I have to bottle myself and shut all the noise out. The few times I went to my father's grave, that's really where this concept came from. A man that once walked this earth. Because you looking at a lot of different graves out there, and you just thinking like, wow, somebody that's down there, this man that is down there 6 feet deep, who no longer exists, but the things that he said and done and influence and courage is still well alive today above the surface. Like, it sounds so simple to us because it's like, okay, people die, yes, they leave stuff, cool. But I'm like, he doesn't exist anymore. He's not a part of this world no more, but we're here. Technically still exists through us, through his work that's still here. He was a musician, his music is still out. He was a principal, he was an educator. He spread knowledge through his students and his colleagues, and he's a father, his kids are here. He's a grandfather, his grandkids are here. And so you just look at it like that, like, he don't have to exist because we exist for him. Basically, the things he done outlived him, and that's the goal. The goal is to have things that's going to outlive you. And I'm inspired by filmmakers like Jordan Peele and guys like that, like Spike Lee and guys to that nature because they got a lot of like hidden gems in their films and their movies, and I'm a fan of that. So I like to kind of have like certain elements placed that you got to pay attention to. So I wanted to add the homie Larry Bull, he from Milwaukee rapper, his song Heights, and he had a line that said, "Daddy died and I cried for a week straight." And I just wanted to insert that because clearly like that is kind of like basically the tone that I'm trying to set for this project. And he also released a project about him losing his father. So basically it was kind of like the story was parallel to his story and my story. So I feel like I wanted to include him in that and shout him out for that. So yeah, so I wanted to give Larry Bull a shout out for that. And there was a lot of sound bites I used even in the beginning when I'm on the roof and he's talking down at me.
Meechie, you recorded? Oh man, Meechie, your highlight tape's gonna look too tough. Hey, you know, Meechie's gonna lay it out when he make a movie.
The reason why that scene was important, because when my father was first diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I remember I called him at the hospital, and he said that to me. I was like, "How do you feel?" He was like, "Feeling like you about to die." Like, me and my family, we don't take nothing serious. Like, even when we going through something, we gonna make a joke out of something. So he was saying that like that was funny, and I was like, "Dude, like what?" And then there's something else and another thing that he said was, he said, "I'm gonna overlook you." Like, you know, you see in the movies where somebody parent looking down on their child. So I basically did that shot because he told me he was going to do it. He literally told me he was going to do that. So I'm like, all right, I might as well make a shot like that as if you actually are overlooking me. I just remember that conversation like it was yesterday. Man, that man crazy. So my friend, he asked me, he was like, "That was crazy how you like did the conversation with you and your pops," and I'm gonna break that down how I came up with that.
I just got a mental block right now. You want me to show you it again? Can I finish first?
Well, do it again.
I knew that I needed a conversation piece, but I'm like, there's so much stuff, because it's like I had to go back and figure out what conversation of him do I have that I could use. And so I had to build around it. So the final version that you hear of him talking, those are years apart from each other. Some of the audio like clips that I put together, the laugh, those are two different clips that I made into one. He's laughing when Josh was a baby. And then another one, he's laughing again, but they're from two different times.
Oh, look. He got my hand. He was trying to fight.
What's up, Pops?
And the next one, where he's actually kind of like conducting an interview, he's actually talking to my Uncle Tony.
No, come on, man. No, with the camera, man. Come on.
Is the volume on here?
No, the volume is fine, but you're not recording. Yeah, now it's recording.
Yes, we're here right now. We certainly would like to ask if you would like to say anything on behalf of the Hale family.
All right. I'll show you what I got.
But I basically had to build that conversation piece and talk around him. So I had to go from this year, this place, that place, into his dialogue, and then I had to basically create my dialogue based on my response to him. And it wasn't easy because, you know, some of the clips, obviously camcorder audio isn't all that clear and crisp, and then I have an actual mic, so I kind of had to make it sound like a little rough just to kind of make it blend well. But yeah, that wasn't easy, especially to find it. But once I kind of found it, then I say, okay, it makes sense. And I know my sister Kayla, she kind of like brought this point to me. She said, "Don't be getting irritated with him." I mean, the reason I did that because that's basically how our interactions were. Like, whenever I would do something that I wouldn't think is all that great, he would always kind of like be extra with it. Like, "Look at my son, blah, blah, blah," like, "Oh my God, this." You know what I'm saying? So I kind of wanted to have that genuine interaction. And that's probably the interaction we would have had if he probably was still here. Like, you know, working on this project, I can hear him now acting like that. And I'm like, what was the hardest part of making this film? Easy. Basically what I'm doing right now, I'm sitting on the roof. So trying not to fall is one. And then where I got my tripod placed and making sure it don't fall, cause I got my camera up there and I ain't finna break that. That is the hard part because I'm filming this by myself. Even when I did the film, I filmed everything by myself. So my eyes closed and all that, but I'm still nervous cause I'm just like, bro, my joint fall, like if I got to jump and catch, cause I would jump off this roof to catch my camera, I ain't playing. But what up, John? How long did it take you to finish the project? Editing, I think editing, it only really took me probably a week. Within a week, I finished it within a week. But the actual shooting of it it's kind of different because the footage that I got with me, my siblings, and my mom is when we went to Alabama for my niece's Egypt's first birthday. So that was February 2021. Actually making it down to Alabama and, you know, seeing my brother's kids for the first time and, you know, seeing my sister's kids and all those being together, then end up going to my grandmother's house and her getting to meet her great-grandkids, and I couldn't like miss that opportunity. I feel like without that, this story is not even, it don't come back full circle, because if you look at the activities we've done, it is so parallel to what we used to do when we used to go down to Alabama. We used to play in our grandmother's living room. We used to look at the pictures and we see that's what they're doing too. And it was like deja vu, for real, to see them. And that's what he did. There's proof that he once walked on this earth.
Guys, the register in the front yard with those hats turned up. That's what it reminded me of. Hey, girl.
Boy, I tell you, that ghetto.
Whether it's through family, whether it's through, like, mind you, we are a part of his evidence, us being his kids and doing what he done with his family and his kids. That's what my siblings are doing with their children. Like, them kind of going through the same kind of like path we did was just, it was like a nostalgic feel to see them. And it's like, it's just history repeating itself.
God, y'all have to smile. No, I'll smile. Okay, now the kid.
They making a smile, Naya.
Now the cover, so let's break down the cover. I think that I probably came up with that like probably a few days prior to actually releasing this. Like I told you, a lot of this stuff was thought on the spot. I can't say I wrote all this months prior and was like, oh yeah, like I say, listen to music, a thought came up in my head and I was just like, well, I got probably a few more days, so maybe I got enough time. So I knew I had to hit up Karen Bullitt. Karen, crazy graphic designer. So I already knew that if it's somebody that I could probably trust to kind of knock this out in that short of time, I can depend on Karen. And so I remember I was editing, and ironically, in the story, I'm editing as well. So there's that scene where I'm on the computer and I'm going through the clips, and there's like a clear reflection on my eye off the computer screen. And I felt like, oh, that's cold, like, and it stuck out to me. And I was like, that's probably the inspiration I'm gonna go for this cover. And so I was like, okay, I need an image of my dad to reflect off my eye. So I remember one day at work, like near my end of my shift, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to pull this off. And so I basically grabbed one of the DSLRs and basically like selfie style take photos of me. And then I was like, you know what I should do? I should probably cry. And just had that, like Denzel and Glory, like had that one tear come down. I said that would be more impactful. And then just start snapping, but I had to make sure the timing was right. I had to make sure the drop went down and snap, snap. And then I just had to keep going, just, you know, until I got it right. And I finally got the one that I was like, okay, this is the one I'm gonna pull from. And then I sent it to Karen out, and then I sent a photo to my dad. And then probably like the next day, she already had like the first draft already. And I was like, yo, this getting close, we getting there. And then probably like, I don't know, later that day or probably that next day, she sent the like official cover and the official poster, like, oh, this official now. So let me break down this picture real quick, because I know it definitely confused a lot of people. So this picture was taken, I believe, in 2008. I probably was about 13, 14 years old. And we visited Tuskegee, Alabama, where my father's from. And usually we go see the grave site of my dad's sister and father. So this picture is actually taken at his father's grave. So I knew I wanted to end the film with him included in some particular photo. So when we actually did that photo, we just kind of recreated kind of like how we would usually take a photo whenever we used to go visit the grave sites as a kid. So I knew I kind of like wanted to reenact that. But as soon as I kind of looked at the picture during the editing process, and then I saw that picture with my father, and I was like, this is basically the same angle. So I basically wanted to include him in the end to kind of make the closeout more impactful. Okay, during the process, what did you learn new about yourself? What new did I learn about myself? It's like every time I do a project, I think you always kind of like unlock something you didn't know you had. I mean, I knew that I can touch people and influence people, but this one was different because it was people, like the responses I got from people be connected to it, but I was reaching people that didn't know me though. For people that don't know you and people telling me, man, you need to submit this to film festival, I'm thinking like, for real? Like, I just did it to do it. Like, this not even my best work that I thought. This was something like a project that I just put together real quick and didn't really think too much of it. But people, and to see my grandmothers like watch it, like that was crazy. Like, I showed my maternal grandmother, who's, you know, that my father's her son-in-law, and she cried like if that was her son, you know what I'm saying, her biological son, and she loved my father like her own son. A lot of people told me they cried. A lot of people told me like wow, I was getting responses from everybody, and they was like, you just broke me down, like you spoke for us type of thing. And I felt like I became the ambassador for the voiceless. Not even just for people that lost a parent, just the voiceless for people that just probably just don't know how to, you know, voice was on their heart, voice was in their mind, and I don't mind, you know, if I have the ability to do that for you, then I will continue doing that. And that just motivates me to keep going with it. So I say I learned that about myself, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But going back to this project, there was a lot of people that lost a parent prior to me, especially my friends in Mississippi. There was a lot of my classmates that have lost a parent. That was the most, I've never been around that many people that lost a parent like that. So by the time it happened to me, I already kind of had an example of how to carry yourself afterwards. And so once it happened to me, I couldn't just be like, all right, it cuts off for me, and I don't want to show nobody else basically how to get through it. Nah, I'm going to pretty much be the example that was set for me and then carry that forward. So, but this is the best way I know how to do it. Yeah, they may not know how to articulate it, and because some people probably still suffering from losing a loved one or a parent. So I'm representing them as well. It's not just about me. It's not just about my father. It's not about just my family. It's bigger. Like I say, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us. I'm doing this for people that I don't even know. So sometimes you gotta look for something like that at your roughest moment, at your roughest time, because that may be the only time for God to get your attention. And they was like, the way you structured that, it just makes so much sense. And I feel like that's the strongest thing and the most powerful thing that I can, that's why I use the one-liner, the story is personal, but the message is universal. I don't want it just to be about my family. It's not just about me. And I feel like somebody that can take my personal story and internalize it, I feel like that's the greatest reward. Because anybody can say, I don't know you, I don't know your dad, I don't know you, so why do I care about this story? But somehow people still connected to it. And this story doesn't necessarily even have to be about losing anybody. That's what I'm saying. It was different undertones of this. It's also finding purpose, looking for purpose, and sometimes even looking for purpose even in the midst of hardship. Like, a lot of us go through chaos, but there's probably a reason why. I'm sure you're not going through chaos just because. You're probably dealing with turmoil because there's something that you need to find in the midst of all of that. And I'm basically using this story to show you that that's how I found mine. And maybe you can look at how I found mine, and hopefully it can help you find yours as well. That's why I say how powerful your words and actions are, because that's the only thing that is going to outlive you. For an example, when you lost somebody, what's the first thing you do? You go look through every text message. You think about every memory you had with that person. You think of every video, photo you ever took. Those things are going to be eternal, what you say and what you do. So that's why I credit my father, because a lot of stuff he do is still relevant today. So today, July 12th, me and my family, we're reflecting on the evidence that he left. But what I want you all to do is to reflect on the evidence you're currently leaving. And in this moment right now, if you feel like the evidence you're leaving isn't up to your standards, then you gotta make a change. You gotta look at your life and be like, whatever I say to this person is gonna be set in stone. Whatever I do is gonna be set in stone. And if I were to go at this moment, would I be proud that that's how I'm remembered? And if the answer is no, then as long as you breathing, you got an opportunity to change that and to also live life the way you want to be remembered. Because I don't want my life and the evidence that I left to be about, you know, drugs and depression and being rude and mean and evil and jealousy and envy. That has been the evidence of a lot of people's lives. And if you don't want that for yours, definitely, like you said, you want to be remembered for something. So be remembered for spreading more life even when yours is gone. My dad, even that he's not a part of this world, is still creating steps, because what he is instilled in people is still giving more life to others. That's real life. When I'm gone, I want these videos I'm making, any video I ever made, anything I ever said to people, to transcend my life. If I can give people more reason to live and inspire even when I'm not here, that's just gonna add on to my life even more. Then death really doesn't exist. One of my favorite lines that I put was, you give me your words, deeds, legs to walk, even when you can no longer. Basically, his words and his deeds are walking for him. Even that he's not even a part of this world no more. Hence the title, A Man That Once Walked This Earth. But in theory, what he's done on this earth is so powerful that it's still currently walking for him. That he doesn't physically have to do it anymore. It's done already. And are you giving your deeds, words, legs to walk? I definitely feel that Any moment that I'm alive, I always feel that I gotta make these days count. And I gotta make sure the evidence I'm leaving count. And that's why I'm making this video. This is the part of the evidence, and just know I'm nowhere near done. I got a lot more evidence that I have to leave.